I think 2024 is going to be a mixed year. I think in general for IT services hiring at least. And I'll split this response into two parts, one from the demand side and the other from the supply side, right? From a demand standpoint, if you look at most companies today, IT services specifically are hiring to backfill attrition or for hiring exotic skill combinations that they are unable to upskill or cross-skill or reskill internally, right? But obviously, there are a few organizations like Hexaware, for example, that are hiring for growth as well. Very, very few. You can count it in the fingers of one hand. But what this means overall, however, is that hiring process will become longer and more stringent. So there will be multiple rounds of evaluation. Customer interviews will almost become a norm. And this is after 2 to 3 rounds of internal evaluation as well. Positively speaking, I think technical software-based assessments will be more prevalent to filter candidacy and also to address the large need for interview panels as well, right? From a supply standpoint, what's going to happen, in my opinion, is that the talent pool has become very, very wary now, right? It's a known fact that the overall IT spend from the customers is also tightening. So the overall number of active job seekers outside also will be on the decline. So hiring teams will need to rejig their strategy to address a more passive job seeker population, and obviously do a complete revamp of their own sourcing strategy. Essentially what I mean is resumes are not going to just flood in your inbox anymore, right? You need to really work for them. On the compensation front, see, retention budgets for companies that used to be on the high and compensation increases as well that were at an all-time high last year will also continue to decrease as the attrition numbers drop, right? So while the overall available talent pool reduces, at least the actively job-seeking talent pool reduces, a few larger organizations that participated in the hiring frenzy of 2022 and even early 2023, as you can see, are already starting to shed the excess, and you see layoffs happening around the industry. Most of it are hires that have happened in the last 1.5 years. And they're employing obviously various ways and means. So what this will also do is this will contribute to the overall available talent pool now, right? Finally, well, it may sound logical to assume that all of this will lead to a compensation arbitrage. I don't think it's real. I don't think there will be any compensation arbitrage that will happen because of this, but we will not go back to the insane 100+% hikes that were prevalent during the Great Resignation period, right? Also margins will continue to erode compared to pre-2022 times, as companies will have to hire at a higher salary for the same roles and rates that existed earlier as well, right? So that's, in my opinion, how the overall landscape of 2024 is going to look at. I think top of my mind recall, Gen AI, obviously the new kid on the block, so it's going to be significantly in demand. There are not many people out there that know that, so it's still evolving. Full stack developers and architects, obviously the favorites amongst the skills that will remain to be in demand. From a data perspective, engineering and warehousing, for example, Snowflake, Databricks kind of demand is going to be definitely on the rise. Cloud migration, cloud transformation, performance testing, ServiceNow, for example, from a skill perspective, is going to be on the rise. So these essentially are on the top of my mind. Obviously, enterprise package software, platform skills, like Oracle, SAP, Workday will continue to be in high demand as companies get back to post-COVID ways of working. Coming to your second question, how is technology helping hiring? As I said earlier, the paradigm of sourcing for hiring has changed completely, right? And it's no longer a basic and generic search that's going to bring in quality profiles that match to your requirements anymore, right? Like how search engine optimization was, both job sites and sourcing professionals uh, are nuancing and optimizing how they represent data sets with respect to what kind of profiles are available. And not just that, right? And they're also devising search strings very, very differently using technology, and very nuanced to the kind of search that they're doing, right? So from search and match tools, cutting edge interview platforms that enable proctoring, fraud monitoring, enabling whiteboard assessments over video, candidate relationship management applications and bots that keep in touch with candidates all the time and in real time, and continue to provide actionable insights to the recruiters. Everything is built on AI and ML, right? So it's an evolving thing that's going on, that's enhancing the overall recruitment experience. And what this has done is this has significantly reduced the manual effort, and obviously, therefore, manual error as well in recruitment processes. It's also improved the quality of matches on resumes to job descriptions, and finally, reduce turnaround times and standardize the overall operations and logistics of recruitment. And outcome, finally, it's very good from a candidate perspective, and also from a company perspective, that a very consistent, high quality experience is provided both sides, right? So I think that's the impact of technology. But like any technology, it's continuously evolving. What's there today is very different from what's there tomorrow, and what's good for one company is very different from what's good for another. So I think customization and adoption and utilization of technology will significantly improve candidate and company hiring experience in 2024. There is a huge gap in fact, and I I want to go a little bit further. See, all lateral experienced candidates that are there in the talent market have um, gone through one company or the other. But the fundamental goes back to what we learn in our colleges and universities, right? Now, is there a gap? Yes, there is a huge gap. But then, are there efforts being made to bridge that gap? Yes, right. I think efforts on this started well over a decade ago, right? I think when IT services organizations and IT organizations started evaluating and selecting students, I think in the third year onwards, right, for engineering. I think the next evolution was to work with universities and colleges to insert curriculum that's relevant to the IT industry, and work and and to the work that each of these sponsors, right, for example, the companies like Hexaware are performing for their customers. And finally, where we are today, I think companies like Hexaware and even some of our competition we are involving ourselves in engaging with prospective hires very early, in addition to the curriculum that we have inserted, with also with non-curriculum related areas, right? Like cultural activities, sponsoring and holding competitions and events that enhance corporate and business acclimatization, inviting industry leaders to address the student community, etc. Right? That has really helped in building that bridge significantly. So the more and more I see it, I think the situation, obviously, like I said earlier, with respect to technology as well, this situation also continues to evolve. We're using, rather than going and having to visit colleges, we are also able to go back and go and use technology and tools to train and actually hold virtual events much more frequently than what was possible earlier, right? So I think the whole catching them young into their careers in terms of colleges helping significantly. That's number one. Number two, in terms of already experienced candidate pool that is out there in the market. Is there a gap? Yes, there is, because customers are increasingly asking for combination of skills, and those combination of skills are not existent in one person. So there is a wide range of organizations that do hiring in different methodologies. Some hire to the bench, train, deploy, and then train and then deploy. Uh, a lot of the companies do just-in-time hiring, and they look for exact matches. Don't mind paying that premium for quick joiners and exact matches. But I think the nuance is in hybrid, if you ask me. I think it's a balance between what you're able to forecast will be the demand that will come, look at the overall tech landscape that is out there, and hire not just in time, which that's never going to go away, but also hire a little bit ahead, hire that candidates that are 70%, 75% match, do training for the rest of them, and then our ability to onboard them. I think that is going to be the norm going forward, in my opinion. See, in my opinion, a learning culture can never be forced, right? And I think leaders must focus on building an ecosystem that fosters learning by default. And I think only then it will sustain, right? And I think Hexaware is one of those very few organizations that do it day in and day out. And what I've seen in my very short stint here is Hexaware is probably the only company that I've seen that reimburses any certification that an employee passes successfully. No questions asked, really, right? I think it also follows the principle that companies that allow their employees to carve out their own paths, obviously with some governance, that are aligned with the aspirations but balanced with their company goals, right? They often see a very healthy culture and environment, and environment of learning that's being built. And I in Hexaware, I see definitely a leading example in that. Many organizations today have moved to a very hands-free, but not hands-off, right? A very hands-free governance where there are no approvals required, and learning applications very seamlessly tie into the career development platforms. And therefore, whatever the employee learns very easily and seamlessly contributes to the company's growth as well, in addition to the employee's growth. That's the way to foster a thriving and learning culture. And I think the learning platforms that are built internally, the investments that Hexaware is making internally to ensure that there is a very continuous culture of learning. And that's the way I'd like to term it. It's not about being reactive. It's not about being proactive. In my opinion, it's about being continuous in what you do. And that continuous aspect and culture of learning is what I see being fostered very healthily inside Hexaware. Technology, there's a new technology that is being born almost every day, right? A new platform that is being developed every day. So today, my advice is for all recruitment professionals, staffing professionals, and also HR professionals is to keep their eyes and ears open on two areas, right? One, what is available out in the market, get the latest trends, start reading up about them and experimenting what is there out there. Second, understand what your company is doing for its customers. And I think we need to bring both of that in alignment, and we need to bring both of them together for us to be able to, number one, understand what is best in class in the market. But best in class in the market does not really mean it will be best in class and useful for you. From a company perspective, because your company is very different, has a very different DNA than anything else outside. So I think it's an important task to read what is out there in the market and try to contextualize and nuance it to what is there and what is needed inside of your company, right? So I think that is what is going to be very critical going forward. Today, for example, skills framework development, right, is on the agenda of a lot of IT organizations, right, and including Hexaware. So talent profiling is going to help your organization understand better what is the talent inventory that exists internally, and how is that going to help the company. It's going to help your sales leaders to position our company better, our talent better, and ensure they are able to create offerings based on what we can offer best, right, and obviously more confidently and more attractively to customers. I think that's a great example of what companies should go behind and what they are going behind as well, right? So the skills framework and talent profiling not only helps the company, but it also helps the employees also continuously to boost their learning and contribute, obviously, both to themselves and to the organization simultaneously, right? So I think that's just one example, and it's just not just technology, it's just concepts that are out there. Revisit areas that you have tried out and actually try to bring them to life, right? But again, that nuancing and contextualizing to what you have and what you are, and not just blindly copy what trends are there in the market, that's going to be very, very key.